Okay, so the key to my approach is to think of the rates here in the correct way. And instead of thinking of it as 10 miles per gallon for the cargo van, we're going to think of it as 1 gallon per 10 miles. Or in other words, 1/10 of a gallon per mile. And we're going to compare that to the new cargo van, which would get 12 miles per gallon. So instead of thinking that as 12 miles per gallon, we're going to think of it as 1/12 of a gallon per mile. The reason I want to think of it this way is because I'm going to be figuring out fuel savings, and so I want to figure out total gallons of fuel saved. So I have number of miles driven, and I have a rate, and if I think of this rate as gallons per mile, then I can multiply gallons per mile times total miles to get gallons. So these are the two rates that I'm comparing, 1/10 of a gallon per mile and 1/12 of a gallon per mile. So I want to figure out the difference between them. I'm going to subtract. And I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite these without the units so that the calculation is a little easier to see. Get a common denominator. Oops. And so I end up with 1/60th of a gallon per mile difference. So if I switch cargo vans, I'm going to save 1/60th of a gallon of fuel per mile driven. Now let's multiply that by the 10,000 miles that I anticipate driving the cargo van, and I get about 167 gallons. And that's fuel saved. Now let's contrast that with the passenger car. So currently my passenger car gets 32 miles per gallon, but again I'm going to think of that rate as 1/32 of a gallon per mile. And if I replace it, I'll drop that to 1/40th of a gallon per mile. The difference being we can calculate that pretty easily. Let's see. So we get 5 160ths minus 4 160ths equals 1 160th. And that's in gallons per mile. So thinking of it as a rate of gallons per mile, you can see that 1/60th is a lot more than 1 160th. So much, in fact, that even though we're going to be driving this 20,000 miles versus 10,000 miles for the cargo van, we still end up with a lot less fuel saved. In this case, we have 125 gallons of fuel saved. And so the cargo van switch will save us 167 gallons. Switching the passenger car will only save us 125 gallons.